Our reading today from Gary Kowalski. Ask the birds, the Bible advises, and they will tell you. And observing the animal's behavior is suggestive. Research, for instance, confirms that several birds flying in a V formation can achieve distances 70% longer than a single bird flying alone. On their long migrations, the birds take turns sharing leadership, doing the hard work of breaking the wall of air. But perhaps the bird's capacity for compassion is not as well known. Charlotte Edwards, who lives near the eastern shore of Maryland where the geese overwinter, describes a remarkable incident of a Canadian goose that had the misfortune to find its feet frozen to the ice when a sudden cold snap seized the river near her home. The creature was huddled against the weather, wings folded tight to its sides, its plight clearly visible through binoculars, when suddenly a line of swans appeared in the sky. 4 of the great swans descended toward the frozen creek, and as the human onlookers watched and wondered, initially fearing that the bigger birds might peck the stranded goose, the swans began instead to attack the ice with their powerful bills. In an essay titled "Tender Moments," Charlotte describes the scene. The long necks were lifted and curved down again and again. It went on for a long time. At last, the goose was rimmed by a narrow margin of ice instead of the entire creek. The swans rose again following the leader and hovered in that circle, awaiting the results of their labors. The goose's head lifted, its body pulled. Then the goose was free and standing on the ice. He was moving his big webbed feet slowly, and the swans stood in the air watching. But the trapped goose still couldn't get airborne. Again, the 4 swans swooped low and began to scrape the frozen bird's wings, chipping and chiseling until finally the goose was able to extend his wings, stiffly testing their pliability and strength. At last, the birds flew all together into the air, the swans rising first to join the larger flock headed toward unknown horizons, and the solitary goose flapping double time until he caught up with the others, bringing up the rear. Sharing leadership, sticking together, encouraging each other. These are good rules to follow, whatever our species. Living our commitments and practicing them in our daily lives are what give promise to the world, hope for a better tomorrow. We may never live as gracefully as our feathered friends, the geese, but that's not ultimately what we're after. For human beings, the aim is not perfection in motion, but motion toward perfection.